This is Corey Drinkett. We are going to talk about monitoring and record keeping for our department. This is chapter 17. Monitoring and record keeping are essential components for sterile processing to ensure that the sterilization processes are consistently effective and traceable. Documentation provides proof of a compliance and regulatory and accreditation standards. Without these records, we are liable for what we do. So without these records, it's like we are not doing nothing at all. So we got to make sure we have the documentation precise, consistent. Everything looks good. So the monitoring and record keeping systems in our department are very essential to ensure that the sterilization processes consistently meet established standards. This practice directly supports patient safety by confirming that instruments and equipment are properly sterilized. With the documentation, we can document we can trace it back to another patient. We can trace it back to the last person who even touched that equipment or that instrument set. So detailed records provide traceability, which is crucial if issues arise. The accurate documentation that we use not only satisfies regulatory requirements, but also helps identify potential process failures and enables corrective actions to be taken properly. So if a sterilization phase fails, we have to document that. We can't just push it off to the side or it fails and leave it at that. No, we have to document that it failed. We should put down why it failed, the reasoning why it failed, and then we have to put down what are our corrective actions. What did we do to rectify it? So if a steam load fails, we need to put down in our record systems, sterilizer 2, load 5 failed because of such and such. It didn't reach temperature in enough time. It was in the sterilization phase, and in the last minute, it dropped under the allotted temperature, so it failed. Whatever. Then we have to indicate what did we do after that, and in that case, we would say that the whole load was sent back to prep and pack, or to the assembly side, and repackaged to be reprocessed. Reliable monitoring and record keeping strengthens the accountability within the sterile processing department. So we are still accountable for all of this. And remember, the record keeping that we keep in our department, especially in the sterilization process, that physical monitor, that printout that we use, the computer system that we use to indicate what loads, what's on what load, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is all a legal document. In other words, that can be called into court if necessary. Record keeping in the sterile processing department. This is not an option. This is not, well, we'll do it if we feel like it. No, this is a recommendation. It's a crucial part of daily responsibilities. So every sterilization cycle, every equipment test, and every maintenance task must be carefully documented. It's essential that these records are accurate. They must be accurate. They must reflect exactly what occurred, even if it shows that the process has failed in some way, shape, or form. Everything must be legible and free from confusing slang or unauthorized abbreviations. In the legible part, if you're doing a handwritten record, a manual record, you got to make sure your writing is clear that when an agency looks at it, or even just the next person behind you is taken over, they got to be able to read it as well. So if your cursive is not good, print. Just make sure it's legible. Make sure that we can read it. Don't use slang. Don't use abbreviations. Spell everything out. Okay? This is something that we cannot curve on. Don't use any inappropriate language that somebody else does not understand. Because remember, in our department, in our field, nationwide, worldwide, not everyone understands all the abbreviations. Not everyone understands all the slang. So eliminate that from your documentation. Make sure everyone can read it, everyone can understand it. It should be complete. It should meet all department documentation guidelines. So every box should be checked. Everything should have something in on that record. And they should be routinely audited to maintain quality and compliance. So these records should be taken once when they are done, and it's usually done the next day. Someone in management will look at them just to make sure everything is all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. Accurate and thorough records are vital for demonstrating adherence to best practices, regulatory requirements, and internal protocols. Incomplete or unclear records can jeopardize patient safety and regulatory compliance. This is not something we want to do. I can tell you from a personal aspect, I was at a facility, Joint Commission came in. This was over a scope area that I was over. I was the lead tech over this, so I redid the reorganization of the scope area, the reorganization of the process, the reorganization of the paperwork that we did, everything. Joint Commission was coming in. They wanted to see our records. I had those records because I was going to turn them over to my manager. Manager came running in. I was teaching class, asking me where those records were. I had to go out and get them for her to take to Joint Commission. So when we say it's got to be precise, Joint Commission went through all those records and found out that me and another person that was doing scopes were not consistent on our paperwork. So they faulted us for that. Not a big fault. It wasn't nothing that big. It was just saying, hey, we found these consistencies. We need to make sure we do them right. That's all. But this is how bad, or not how bad, but this is how precise these agencies will look at our records. So these records have to be precise. The general monitoring and sterile processing is essential to verify that all cleaning, disinfection, the sterilization processes consistently meet required standards. This is something we cannot skirt around. We cannot cut corners on this. This monitoring system should be performed routinely and must always be properly documented to ensure traceability and accountability. This process involves using mechanical, chemical, and biological indicators to evaluate equipment performance and the effectiveness of the sterilization processes. The mechanical, or I should say the physical. This is the printout that the steam and the low temp sterilizers will print out for you. This is what we are looking at. This gives the parameters of that cycle. Did it reach the temperatures that we want it to reach? Did it stay in the sterilization phase, the allotted time that we want it to stay in? Stuff like that. That's the printout. That's the physical monitor. That's something that you will sign. The chemical monitor is the tape that we put onto the wrapped items. In the pill pack, it's the chemical indicator inside of that pill pack. The rigid containers, it's that lock. That's the chemical. The biological is the ample that we use to test the sterilization process. If we're using biologicals for every load, we need to make sure we record that. We make sure that we record what the results were for that biological indicator. The continuous monitoring will help detect issues early, preventing the potential use of improperly processed items. Maintaining strict monitoring practices is not only crucial for patient safety, but is also required to comply with healthcare regulations and accreditation standards. This is not just more work that we're trying to put onto our people. We have enough work. But this is what's required of us, not just from the hospital standpoint, but from our accreditation, the accreditation agencies that comes in and monitors us. Technicians must also adhere to the manufacturer's instructions for use when performing equipment testing and inspections. The immediate reporting to the manager is required if equipment fails testing or inspection. And we also have to document that it failed, the testing or whatever. This is essential. Ultrasonic cleaners rely on cavitation to clean instruments, so regular testing ensures internal components function properly. Irrigating ultrasonic cleaners require additional checks to confirm irrigation flow in lumen instruments. The washer disinfectors, they undergo a daily visual inspections for cleanliness and mechanical function. Chemical dispensers must be checked for accuracy. The washer disinfectors, we run a test in them every day to make sure that it is doing its job. You need to make sure that the chemicals are filled for the washers. You want to make sure that the piping, the line that leads from the chemicals to the washers is actually pumping the chemicals. Because if it's not doing its job. If we have a clogged line, we gotta get that fixed. Another thing, people forget about this, is checking those screens in the washer disinfectors. Those screens come out. Instruments fly. Things fly out of trays, and they're usually in the screens. This will clog up that drain system. We want to make sure that drain system is cleaned out. So we need to make sure those screens are cleaned out daily. Me, I prefer every shift. So cleaning effectively should be routinely tested using chemical available products. The operators must verify the physical monitors like cycle printouts to ensure disinfection temperatures and cycle parameters are properly met. Test strips are essential to ensure that the disinfection solution maintains its minimum effective concentration, or the MEC for effective disinfection. So these test strips, if we're doing even whether it's a manual soak or we are putting it into the AER, which is the automated endoscopic reprocessor, we have to check that solution every time it's being used. Not every day, not every week, it's every time. So if you're processing 7 scopes in that day, you're going to do it 7 times. It's for every scope. It's even for when we open up a new bottle of test strips. It is crucial to immediately verify their efficacy following the manufacturer's instructions for use. It is on that bottle of test strips to say you have to test these strips with 3 test strips. And it even tells you how to test those test strips. We have to document this. This is required, including the date the bottle was opened, the expiration date or discard date, and the results of each test performed. Consistent documentation supports quality assurance and regulatory compliance. This is not just hospital-wide. This is not just if we feel like it. It's coming from higher up. The cleaning of medical devices intended for high-level disinfectant involves multiple steps and often requires specialized equipment. Remember, this is for patient safety, so it is crucial that this equipment is fully functional before use. So technicians must monitor devices such as leak testers, whether it's for the manual soak or the automated one. Leak testers must be used on every endoscope that comes down into our hands. Automated flushing devices and cleaning verification tools. The automated flushing devices for your flexible endoscopes that require the leak testing. There is an automated, which is called a scope buddy. You attach that system to the scope. It flushes the internal channels. This is after we manually clean that scope. We will manually put a brush through those lumen channels. We'll hook it up to the scope buddy, and depending on the IFU of that device is how long that scope buddy will run, and it just pumps the water and the solution through, and it will pump when we start rinsing it. It will pump the clean water through. Proper testing must occur prior to each use, and all test results must accurately document to maintain compliance and ensure the effectiveness of the cleaning process. Accurate documentation is crucial in the manual disinfection process to ensure patient safety and regulatory compliance. The key elements to record include the date, immersion and removal times from the high-level disinfectant, test strip results to verify the MEC, the expiration dates for both the test strips and the solution. When you're disinfecting any type of flexible or rigid endoscopes, it is essential to also document the name of the technician who performed the cleaning and the patient identifier to maintain traceability. So for our flexible endoscopes, if you're processing endoscopes or cleaning endoscopes, we need to make sure we get the patient identification. Just go back to the room it came from, say, hey, I need a patient sticker. That is the best identification for the patient. You put that into your paperwork. You got to put your name down. You've cleaned it. Your responsibility. Put your name down. Put the time and date it came down to you. Time and date that you cleaned it. The expiration date of all the test strips that I have to use, all the solution, it's all got to be required and documented. Some disinfectants may also require temperature monitoring. So if it's required a temperature monitoring, you will put that down as well. The AERs, or the automated endoscope reprocessor. It's a streamline that the disinfection process, but diligent monitoring is still essential. With the AERs, there is a printout that will print out just like your steam and your V-probe sterilizers. It prints out. With the AERs, it does the same thing. It prints out all the information. So each cycle's disinfectant solution must be tested following the AER's manufacturer's instructions for use. So after the AER is done, you will take a test strip and test that product. Most AERs produce a cycle printout that must be viewed to confirm all cycle parameters were met. The technicians will sign that printout to verify that they reviewed that printout to make sure everything was met. Item tracking can either be entered directly into the AER system or documented manually if this feature is unavailable. The documentation requirements aside from the printout mirror those for manual disinfection. So the AERs usually use micron water filters that require scheduled replacements. We do not replace those ourselves. We call maintenance. They replace it. It's on a set schedule, so we don't have to worry about it. It is replaced, it is tagged, it is documented by maintenance or the facility. We do not touch it. Whether this is like I said, it's through by biomed, and it must be documented. And usually, whoever replaces it does the documentation. For the chemical indicators, the type of chemical indicators that we have external indicators. This is the tapes. This is the container locks. This is what we use for the visual outside, the outside visual component that we know it went through that process. The internal ones are the chemical indicators that we put into the packs, whether it's a pill pack. We actually will see that through the pill pack. It should be seen through the pill pack. Usually, if you cannot see it, it's considered contamination. Most of the times, if the end user cannot see that chemical indicator that is changed, they will reject it and send it back. But when they open up the set, and when they unwrap the set or open up the container system, those chemical indicators is what they look for to make sure to show that it went through the process. This also helps detect the sterilization failures too. I've been in situations where we ran a steam load. We pull it out, and half of the pack, whether it's especially on the rep pack, I've seen one side of the tape, one tape turn completely, and the other did not. It's considered contaminated. I've seen it to where one lock changed, one didn't. It's not. It's considered contamination. So those indicators should change color after the sterilization process. This is also part of the sterilization quality assurance process. The physical monitors. This is the time, the temperature, and pressure. These are essential for ensuring the sterilization efficiency. Operators must carefully review these monitors during and after each cycle to confirm that all parameters were met. This is part of your job working on the sterilization aspect in our department. You will sign those charts that provide accountability and proof of proper monitoring. Like I said, this is a legal document. It must have your signature. If a malfunction is detected, the load must be treated as unsterile, and the sterilizer must not be used until the issue is resolved. If you pull it out, you're running a biological with it, the biological failed. Guess what? We got to take that load. It's got to be redone. It's got to be reprocessed. Depending on your facility, you will talk to your manager to see what they want to do with that sterilizer at that time. Immediate notification to the department manager is required, and thorough documentation of the failure and recall process is essential to maintain patient safety and regulatory compliance. So if you have anything that's failed, let your supervisor, let your manager know. Your biological indicators. This is one of the most important parts of monitoring available. So what the biological does, when it's ran in a load, when it's done, it's incubated. The biological has spores in it, live spores. And when we break those spores and feed it, in other words, we're feeding those spores. Depending on if the sterilization process is working correctly, it will kill those spores. If it kills those spores, the load is a negative load. So that means it's good to go. Okay. These testing should be ran weekly, preferably daily. Every time that the sterilizer is ran, there should be a biological run with it. Most facilities now are going to, with every load, you will run a biological with it. It's better process. It should be incubated at the end of each sterilization cycle. If there is no color change, it has been exposed to whatever sterilant we are using, and that's called a negative result. It's good to go. If the ample changed colors, it means that it was not exposed, so we have to reprocess it. The proper load control labeling is crucial for tracking the sterilized items that we put into the system. Each item must have a load number that includes the sterilizer's ID. The ID is what sterilizer number, the cycle number, and the sterilization date. There's some facilities out there that use the Julian date system. If you don't know what the Julian date is, the Julian date is the number of days that have gone throughout the year. It's not by month, it's all those days. You know there's 365 days in a year. That's what they do. So after the end of January, it does not start back over with one. It just keeps going on and on and on until it hits the 365 days. That's the Julian date. Labels can be applied with the labeling gun or by hand. Accurate documentation in the load log is essential. We have to record all of this. It's essential. This includes recording the load number, the date, the time, items sterilizer, the exposure parameters, operator information, and the biological test results when used. So with each load, you are going to put down what sterilizer number it is going into, what load number is it, the date, the time you're putting it in, what items are you putting in, the exposure time, which is the exposure steam, that's your sterilizer time. You need to put your name down on it too, and if you have a biological with it. These records not only confirm that sterilization parameters were met, but also enable quick response in the event of a product recall or a sterilization failure. Remember, documentation is essential. This is all for patient safety. This is not an and, if, or but giveaway. The dynamic air removal sterilizers. This is what most facilities use. With these, we have to use what's called a Bowie-Dick test. This is one of the first tests that's done every day that the sterilizer is in use. Most of the time, the Bowie-Dick test will be ran on third shift because it's got to be ran after midnight. If your facility or what facility you're working at does not have a third shift, it will be done on first shift. As soon as first shift walks in, that's when they will start running this. But the Bowie-Dick test is a test that ensures proper air removal and steam penetration. So we're ensuring that the sterilizer, when it's pulling the air out, it's pulling it out, all of it out correctly. Leak testing confirms that the sterilizer's vacuum integrity is essential for effective sterilization. We can do a leak test. A leak test should be done at least once a week. It's more stringent than the Bowie-Dick because what the leak test does, it tests to make sure that there's no air that's escaping the chamber, but also no air getting into the chamber as well. The biological and the process challenge devices should be used daily and with every implant load to verify the sterilization efficiency. The gravity sterilizers, even the dynamic sterilizers, they utilize the biological of choice is the Geobacillus stereothermophilus. That's what we use to, that's what is in the ampoule that we use to test the biological portion of the sterilization phase. The IUSS, or the immediate use steam sterilizers, are used for unwrapped or emergency sterilization cycles only. They will also use the Geobacillus stereothermophilus. Your ethylene oxide. Not too many hospitals have ethylene oxide, but the biological portion of that is the Bacillus atrophaeus, and it's for ethylene oxide. You will run that with every load. It is not an option, and you got to make sure that the parameters have been met. It will print out a physical printout as well. Your hydrogen peroxides, they use the same as all the others except for ethylene oxide. They will use the Geobacillus stereothermophilus, and they say it should be ran every day that the sterilizer is in use. But more your facilities are running a biological with every load as well. Sterile processing technicians must continually develop their skills to ensure patient and staff safety. This is where the education portion comes in, because our field evolves, and it evolves rapidly. This is the medical field. It evolves rapidly. There's always new instrumentation, new equipment, new standards. So our education must be ongoing. So this is essential, and it's even essential for, and I think it's more essential for experienced staff than staff that's just getting into the realm of things. I say that because with experienced staffing, or with the experienced staff, and that's even with me included, you become lax. It's second nature. You don't really think about a lot of things. You're just going through the motions. And sometimes you forget. So that education just reminds us, keeps us up to date of what's going on. Documentation of this is crucial. Each employee's training and orientation must be formally recorded. It will go into your employee file as well. Competencies assessments verify on the employee's ability to perform tasks safely and effectively. Every personnel that works in central processing should have a competency on them. And there should be a competency for decontamination, a competency for the assembly area, a competency for the sterilization area, steam and for STERRAD. If you do endoscopes, you have to have a competency on that as well. And you'll have to do a competency on either a manual or the AER aspect of it. You will have a competency on sterile storage. You'll have a competency on case cards. This it helps you, but it backs up the facility too, because then you sign that competency and you start getting lax and you start missing stuff, and they keep on coming back and saying, hey, you keep missing this step, you keep missing this step, and then you can't come back and say, well, I was never taught. They will go back to that competency and say, yes, you have, you signed off on it. So it's covering their butt as well. These assessments should occur during orientation, when new equipment is introduced, when procedures are updated and on a regular schedule. Continuing education ensures that technicians stay informed about current best practices and regulatory updates. All education and competency records should be carefully tracked and regularly reviewed to support quality improvement and departmental growth. So education, the competencies, it's not bad. It's actually a good thing. Remember your objectives. See if you can answer these. Make sure you remember these objectives are for what you got out of the reading, not anything else. Your workbook, your exercises, your workbook, the practice exercises on page 77. The review quiz is on page 78. Please put your score of your review quiz onto ThinkWave so I can check it out, so that I can make sure that it's checked off. And again, my name is Corey Drinkett. My phone number is listed. You can text me or call me. I advise you that if you text me, please put down your name first, because if you don't, I'm not going to respond. And then I will add you to my phone, so that the next time you text or call, I know who I'm talking to. This is my email address. It's Corey.Drinkett. It should be all lowercase. I made the mistake there. But it's Corey.Drinkett@FranciscanAlliance.org. Email me if you have any questions, please. And I thank you for your time in reviewing chapter 5 with me. And have a good night. Thank you. Bye.